it's not effective, it's not efficient, if it's not productive, if it's not meeting goals and needs of people or yourself or your project or your life, whatever it is you're doing, then you're just your business really doesn't make any sense. So when people say I'm busy.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode today, and I'm Oluwatobi. I'm so happy to have you join me on another episode of Clustered Nuts, where we talk about life issues and we just discuss and see it from other people's perspective. And today, even for this month, we'll be looking at management generally and how we can manage things well. Most times we complain about insufficiency of a particular thing, and of course, there are situations whereby that thing might be true. Maybe it's not sufficient. Maybe you do not have enough of that thing. But most times there is even maybe not so enough, but something that you can still manage, or maybe the resources you can manage such resource per time. And of course, we know that when it comes to management, what comes to mind most times is all about financial management. How can I manage my finances? But beyond that, there are other ways or other things you have to manage. And today, I'll be looking at time management actually with the amazing Chigozie. Thank you, Chigozie, for joining.
Thank you very much, Toby, for having me. I'm glad to be here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for also coming once again and just honoring our invitation. So it's a pleasure. and before I start, I've actually noticed, we have two different types of people. Maybe there are some that maybe I have enough time to do other things, or maybe watch movies and do all that. And there are some that form, okay, I can even categorize them as three. There are some that form so busy, like you can't even get to them, and they are literally not so busy. And there are some that are literally busy. I've actually been in situations whereby I feel, oh, I'm very busy. Not necessarily maybe sleeping, another form of busy, and you're sleeping and all. What comes to mind when someone tries to, especially based on your experience, when someone tries to form this busy, or let's say they claim to be very busy? What comes to mind when it comes to you? And do you believe someone can be so busy that he might not have time for any other thing?
Well, for me, it depends on what you make out of whatever you are doing. So for me, it's the effectiveness and the efficiency of whatever it is you're doing. So if it's not effective, it's not efficient, if it's not productive, if it's not meeting goals and needs of people or yourself or your project or your life, whatever it is you're doing, then you're just your business really doesn't make any sense. So when people say I'm busy, what is the result of your business? So how effective is it? What is it? Or how efficient is it? Whatever you are doing. So that's what I count as when someone says that they are very busy, or when I say I'm very busy. At the end of the day, what did I achieve? So that's for me.
I think even from what you said, like effectiveness and efficiency, there are times that you're really busy, but if you are smart enough, maybe you can find a way to even be more efficient, or even just put them together and just get it done in no time. And so when it comes to that, like, okay, will you suggest at every point in time try to check out what you're doing? That, okay, we're even talking about people that are very busy now, so to speak. So will you suggest that at every point in time they should reevaluate and check how effective is this? Or, okay, if I'm busy and I'm cool with it, it's okay by me. Let me just continue to be busy.
That's definitely, you should always review. You should always take a look at what you've been doing in the past, or for some days or for hours, and know exactly where it's going. If it's not making a good headway, then it's advisable you turn back and change your strategy. right? If you're not being productive, then you have to make a U-turn and look at other things that you can do to actually be productive. So it's very important that you review whatever it is you're doing, or all through your lifetime. Or for example, I did this personally, I did this early this year, or like the end of the last year and early this year, just within those few days of transitioning from the last year to this year. I had the time to look at my entire year, look at key things that happened, right? You may not remember everything that happened every single day, but you can remember everything that, key things that happened, milestones that you hit, right? So I looked at all those things, reviewed how well did I do them, how did I relate with people, how did I relate of course, as a Christian, I always talk about my relationship with God, right? How did I manage my career, how did all those things happen? So it's review is very important. If you're unable to review yourself or the things you've been doing, one thing is sure, you may not know how well you're doing, you may not know how to move forward. So reviewing can give you the light on whether you're doing well or you're not doing so well, and can help you to know what steps to take moving forward to better your situation.
Thank you for that. And of course, it comes to mind, like, you're even looking for a way to be more effective, and you can never do anything less than reviewing and take time to check out what am I doing right. But even in an instance whereby, okay, you do not have any choice, you know that it's not so effective, but you do not have any choice than to continue that way for now. And a common example in Nigeria, which is not totally used again these days, let's say I bake bread or I make bread, and then I need to sell. You know that there are some people that hawk bread, and if I check out, maybe it might be more effective if I have an online platform where people even check it out and buy online. I get a delivery guy instead of me walking for like 2 or 3 hours without getting anybody to buy it. I don't know if that makes sense. So even in that way, I might be more effective by reaching out to other people. But let me say I do not even have that platform. Maybe I do not have a phone that can do that, and I have to just do it that crude way. So my question is, like, even when I'm doing those things and then it seems like I'm very busy, do you still think like I can be so busy to the point where I won't have the time for other things that matters in a way? So maybe let's say I'm busy with coding or I'm busy with something else, and I've checked the effectiveness. Maybe there might even be more ways to be. Maybe there might be ways to be more effective, but at the moment I do not have capacity to be more effective in that way. So now I'm so busy that I have no choice than to do it that way, and neglecting other people, because I've seen people being engrossed in what they have to do that they even forget about relationships, they forget about other things. Do you think it is possible? And even if it is possible, do you think it is the best? And how can we improve on those things? I don't know if that
I think this is why we're discussing time management today. So that in itself has to do with managing your time, right? You can never focus on one thing only in your entire lifetime, or even in a day. Even talk about a single day. First of all, you can never focus on a single thing in a day, right? So and then in time management, or you managing or planning your life, it has to do with strategy. If you're doing something and it looks like, okay, this is not the best way to do it, but let me just move on. Let's keep doing that. And it means that you're not strategizing and re-strategizing. So at every point in time, you should be able to have a strategy. If at the end of the day you know that this is what works, even if it feels like there are other means of doing it. For example, the instance you gave about selling bread, right? If you have checked it, you've reviewed it, you've planned it well, and you see that it's working throughout the streets, that actually works, then that's fine. If some other people think that selling it online, posting all the time, there is bread available, hot bread, order now while it's still hot, right? So if they feel that that's what works for them, they have their audience, they have the people, they have their market, right? They know that this is what works for them. Then there are some rich guys that don't feel like buying bread on the streets. They feel they gratify themselves when they
Just
buy the one from online. They feel like it's it's special something. I ordered this bread from Amazon. Why would you order bread from Amazon? But if that's what if it makes you feel better as a rich person, then that's fine. So you have to look at you have to look at the result. Like I said before, if it gives you results, no matter how you do it, as long as it produces results, even if it may not be the best, even if who says it has to be online alone, right? Who says it has to be other things? So if you strategize and you know that this is what works for you, then that works. For example, again, in Nigeria, I can give the instance of people who buy mama put on the streets. For some people, or like ewa going and bread and stuff like that, some people feel that this is so satisfying than buying from the place or Chicken Republic, right? So those things, it's about how it works for you at the end of the day.
So thank you for that. It's more about how it works for you, which is so important. So now in that kind of situation, so if you are neglecting other things, like maybe relationships or other things you even have to attend to, just facing that, do you think it's still the best? Despite the fact that, and how do you manage such now? Okay, I know that this is really not the best, but I have to do it. It takes my time. It takes a lot. But there are still some people I need to check up on. There are other things that might not necessarily be this, maybe selling of bread, that I need to also focus on. Just looking at the spiritual aspect, maybe I need to spend time with God, or even I need to spend time with my people, or even I need to build my career in other ways. So in situations like that, how do you manage your time or what is your own take when it comes to managing your time in that regard?
This is the point I made earlier, that you can never focus on one thing. If you're bent on doing one thing always, then you're probably on the very wrong lane, right? So you can never focus on a particular thing only. There are other aspects of your life, and like I always know, and I tell people when I have the opportunity, that how you manage your time daily equals how you manage your entire lifetime, because your entire lifetime is a summation of what you do daily. So if you focus on a particular thing, for example, you are coding and that's all you do every single day, at the end of your life you realize that you've done nothing else but coding, right? And you never had any relationship with people, your relationship with God never got improved, and all of that. So that's not the best way to live. And how to do that is to I would say revisit your value system, right? What are the things you value? That is what I would say. So if someone feels that all they want to do is just to code and never have time for people, then it means that you don't value people. It means that you don't value relationships. It means that you don't value relationship with God. You don't value other things, right? So I feel it's a matter of value. Whatever you value, you give time to, right? If you value people, you give time to those people. You give time to your relationship with God. You give time to studying. You give time to other things. So for me, it's a matter of value. Now, when you recognize your value, when you know that you value I value these things, I value these other people, then you plan the time. So time management or planning all those things, it has to do with planning and controlling them. Now, even though you cannot control time, because we are in time, right? It's only God that can control time, but you can control the amount of time you spend. So you cannot control time, but you can control the amount of time you spend on a particular task or several tasks put together, or several things put together. So you control. Now I'm giving my suggestion on how to manage the situation. So you can control the amount of time you spend on coding, amount of time you spend on people, maybe visiting them, going out for dinner and stuff like that. You can control the amount of time you do all those other things, and at the end of the day, you meet all the goals. You tick those those goals. Okay, I'm doing this. Tick the boxes. You ensure you're satisfied that okay, I'm actually doing the right thing.
And from what you said, something even struck me, like stood out to me, which is what you give your time to, you become that thing eventually, and other things might be affected, just like the coding we mentioned now. Like you might be maybe a veteran in coding, and then other things, your relationships with people and every other thing just go haywire. And in the future, later on, you realize that, okay, life is beyond this particular thing I've given my life to other things. Like now, maybe such a person might even feel lonely and do that because he hasn't spent time to build those other things. Even when they are speaking about other topics, you couldn't even participate because all your life it has always been coding and nothing else. So now the next thing that comes to mind is when it comes to managing your time, as you've said that say that this is the amount of time I want to spend with this or this. Now let's say there are people you put in esteem, for example your parents, and you've planned that I'm spending 1 hour today to talk to these people, and then it's going out of hand. Where would you come out to say no, this is enough without dishonoring?
So even apart from this example and every other thing, any other task you might get involved in, there's a place for flexibility, right? There was a time, and I still try to do that as much as possible, especially being full-time in my workplace. Like I use my project management, a simple project management to plan my activities and my time, right? So I set the time, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to write blogs, I'm going to read this, I'm going to take time to cook, I'm going to do all of that. So but then I leave room for flexibility, right? Things can always happen. So you're not too rigid with yourself. You're not too rigid with because you can't control, like I said, you can't control time, and you can't control what other things that might happen. You can't control what other people might do as well. So you leave a little room for flexibility, where, for example, you are speaking with your parents and it's more than an hour. I mean, like I said, your value system is very important. You value your parents, and you know that an extra 20 minutes or 15 minutes cannot kill you, right? You can't say, oh, that is 1 hour. Let's wait to next week to continue our discussion. No, you can't do that. So you leave room for exigencies, certain things that might happen that weren't planned for. Right, and that goes in for other things you're doing. Probably you plan to write your blog, or you plan to do something. You plan to go to the grocery store to get something, and then you see that the time has gone past what you planned. I mean, you can't kill yourself about those things. So just know how to readjust yourself and meet all those goals afterwards. So flexibility is important.
And you're not a robot,
I mean,
so you don't have to just do that. So thank you for that. And I could get it that you mentioned something about, okay, I would do this at this time, do that at this time, like putting that or making a
plan,
having this scheduled plan that this is what I want to do at this time. Would you always suggest that we should, because I don't think I've really done that as time has passed. You know, there were times I planned, okay, I will do this, I will do that, but eventually I'll just ditch it somewhere when it's this time. I'm ready. But for effectiveness, because of course I know we've handled some things together, and of course I think we are working on one. And we had this platform that we are checking things. Okay, this time we had to do this, and of course you're into project management, more of that. So would you always suggest that you should have this plan written out? This is what I want to do for per day for effectiveness, or you think you can still be liberal? What's your thought about?
So like I said, it's what works for you, right? And it's also advisable if you notice that you're the kind of person who does a lot of things every day, and sometimes it looks at the end of the day you'll be like, oh, what exactly did I even achieve, right? So that for me it happens usually. I plan that when I prepare that schedule, when I know that I feel like I'm doing a lot, and I still feel like I'm not even achieving anything at the end of the day. So, or I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do, like, there are times I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna write this blog. For days, weeks, I've not written a single thing. So I'm telling you, like, you're like, okay, can I just sit down and do this thing? But it doesn't happen. So having a plan helps you to actually do that thing. When you're seeing it, it keeps you in check. It's a reminder that, okay, you need to do this thing. So having a schedule is very important. If, for example, if you're working, you're working full time at your workplace, as an employee or as the owner of the business, right? And you have the home front to take care of. You have your own personal time, right? So having a schedule is important. You plan for, also in your workplace. You know the kind of plan you prepare. Have a meeting at 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. rather, and then next meeting 2 at 2:30, and then I have to visit the manager, or stuff like that. So having a schedule for me is important. But again, you can't be rigid with that. And if it does not work for you, there are some people that also have a calendar and they never follow it. For example, I'll confess that I had a meal plan. I prepared a meal plan. Today it's still pasted on our kitchen wall, and I never follow it. I tried following it from the beginning when I prepared it. Today.
Sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, today is morning. Okay, tomorrow and the afternoon is bread and all that. And then you realize in the afternoon there is no bread, and you're like, let me just cook Indomie.
Other things are available, and even the one on that plan might
not even be available, right? So having a plan is good if it's gonna work for you. And if you know that you are liberal with your time and you still produce good results, then go for it. But then for me, if you are stuck at a particular point in your time when it seems like you're not doing anything, you're not achieving things, or you're not getting things done, then go for a schedule. At least try it out. That's what I would suggest. Try it out and see if it works.
So the basic thing is, don't deceive yourself. If you want to prove yourself that I'm a senior man, I don't need any plan here, and you notice that nothing is really working for you, I think it's better, let me try this plan out. Because of course, as you've said earlier, the way the day is going, one is getting older as time is going. So I think that's so important. And just speaking of the plan that you mentioned earlier, and I just want giving your final thoughts to, especially when it comes to time management, and also as a mom, you have other things to do. I know, of course, there will be times Biola helps out, but you have jobs to do. You have even the vlog that you mentioned, worked on project management and everything, and you still have a child to take care of. How do you juggle these things? And can you just give the upcoming tips around that, managing such, and also your final thoughts on time management.
So like I already mentioned those things, right? Having that schedule is important, and even if you don't have a full daily schedule, right, at least you can have weekly schedules, you can have a monthly schedule. Things can always come up. Give room for those things, give room for exigencies. You can't kill yourself over those things. And then secondly, like I said, I mentioned earlier, your value, right? I value my family, I value my relationship, my husband and my daughter. So I put those things, like, and I mentioned it earlier, how I reviewed things that I did in the past year, and so I also planned how I want this year to go. So planning is important. Bible says that it is for man to plan and it is for God to bring to pass. If you have nothing you've planned, there is almost nothing for God to bring to pass. Right? So people feel like, oh God, anything can always happen. At least plan something. If you plan, I can say that I've met if I can say almost 98 or 99% of the goals I prepared or I planned for this first half of the year. I can boldly say that by the grace of God, of course, not by my power, because I planned that I would do this. I planned that I write this certification exam test. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I tell you, I'm actually meeting them because I plan. So if you don't plan for something, there is nothing to look forward to. There is actually nothing to do, right? So I would say that those are the things that helped me to prepare my entire day, and of course my entire lifetime. So knowing that I value my family, knowing that I value my career too, so I give time to all this. I give place to all of those things. So that's that. I just ensure that I give time to my husband and my child, and the time to cook and prepare stuff. Of course, my husband helps out, and then I have time to do other things that matter to me, my relationship with other people, and then career and all of that. So one, your value system. Two, planning is very important. People don't know this. It seems like I was speaking to some people, because I have some clients that come to me for career counseling and studies and all of that, and then it seems like people don't know about career planning. You just especially from where we're coming in Nigeria, you just write JAMB, and then before you know it, they just give you one course like that, maybe one horticulture course, and you never plan to do horticulture in life, and then after doing it, you're like, okay, what do I want to do at the end of my degree? Nothing. So and after that, people just get tired of so there's a place for planning, whether it's your career, your time, your family, and all of those things. Plan, and then let's see how God helps you to fulfill all those things.
Thank you. So definitely you have to plan, and just plan ahead, prepare for those things. Don't just wait for life.
Yeah, don't leave your life to chance. Don't leave your life to chance.
Plan. At least there is a particular thing you want to see, or even in future, a particular kind of life you anticipate. Plan it out and see how things work out. So thank you for sharing. And even before we leave, you mentioned the consulting. So Chigozie and Biola, they are into consulting. So do well to, of course, check it out. And what's the email they can?
Yeah, it's tochadeduconsult@gmail.com. So TOCHADEDU consult@gmail.com.
Thank you, and be sure that you get the best of the best consultation when it comes to that. So thank you
so much.
Thank you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. It's a privilege to have you here today. Much. So yeah, and thank you guys for listening. As we've said earlier, it's more about planning. Plan your time, plan ahead even before just getting into it, so that you know what you're going into. You don't just see the day go off like that, but at least we plan. And I hope I see you next week, where we also discuss something about management again. Thank you for joining, and see you next week. Bye.